12s, my name is Carden Madzokere. I'm the author of the distinction-bound student textbooks. I have economics grade 10, 11, and 12. And I also have business studies grade 11 and 12. But it was written by a friend of mine, and I'm just the publisher and the editor as well. All right, in this lesson, we are going to focus on management and leadership. Right, this comes in paper 2, of course, and it comes along with the other 5 topics. Let me see if I'll remember them very well. There's management and leadership, okay? There's securities, there is investment securities, then there's investment what do you call this? Come on. Insurance, yes. And then there's forms of ownership, and lastly, what's the last one? The last one is presentation, yes. So these 5 are my personal option when it comes to paper 2. So yeah, if you're going for business ventures, these are the 5 that you should be studying. Otherwise, if you want business roles, then you take the other ones. I'm sure there are 5 as well, but I'm not going to talk about them right now. All right, so to get started, as usual, I'm using past papers, and I'm mainly focusing on 2017 onwards. So mainly it will be from March 2017, June, November, like that. So it's 3 papers per year. And so let's see questions that have been, coming since then. And some of the questions have been repeating, but I did not repeat those questions over and over again. For instance, one of the most common questions was that I noticed when I was doing these 5 topics was under securities. They kept asking the functions of the JSE. So if there is one thing that you have to master before you go and write something for 10 marks, most probably, if not more, please make sure you know the functions of the JSE. That's an easy one, you'll see, but obviously not in this video. That is when I do securities. All right, I'm going to do it anyway after this video. All right, so let's get going. Right, the first one, this one will be read the extract below or the scenario below and answer the questions that follow. So we have Baloy Traders BT. Right, Miss Green, a manager at Baloy Traders, regularly requests employees to contribute ideas. Okay, this one right here is a clue. If an employee, if a manager requests, for employees to make contributions on their ideas, it is a sign that this manager also values what employees say. So it gives us a clue as to which leadership style this manager uses. And just to refresh your mind on these leadership styles, what should be coming to your mind to the answer, of course, I haven't read the question yet, but you should know that there is an autocratic leader, and this leader gives instructions and subordinates just follow. That's the key of an autocratic. So it's more like a one-way traffic from top to bottom. The boss says something, and the subordinates just do what the boss says. So in this case, you have no choice. Then we have a democratic leader who gets opinions from his followers. So you see here, Ms. Baloy is requesting employees to contribute. So that can give you a clue as to, okay, what answer this is. Then we have a free reign leader who gives his subordinates that freedom, they get to do what they want to do, what they can, what they feel like is good. Now that leadership style obviously works when you are working with people who are experienced, because if you are working with experienced people, you can't really be autocratic to them because they know exactly what they're doing. Or if you are working with people who are already producing good results, there's no need for you to be nursing them around, telling them what to do, how to do it, because I'm sure you hired them because they are experts. So if you are working with experts, I think free reign people who you know that they are very responsible, you might want to be a free reign leader. And then there's a bureaucratic leader. In this one, followers have to adhere to structured, strict and rigid rules. Someone who is red tape kind of thing. Like, I don't know how to put it, but he's he's not worried much about okay, let's say he's insensitive. He doesn't care about how people feel about an idea. He just follows the books. If the book says, or the rules of the company say this, he just wants to follow the rules. So that person, I don't know. I hate bureaucrats. And then we have, I've worked with one. This other principal that I used to have, Mem Colleen Walker, that was a bureaucrat. She was insensitive. Okay, I know I shouldn't be saying this, but yes, she was. All right, then we have a charismatic leader. Okay, this one uses charm. Like people follow this leader. He also uses what do you call this one? Praise. He's someone who uses charm. Let me just use the word charm. For employees or his subordinates to be motivated and so on. Yeah, he's someone who could say to you, "Hey, beautiful, please bring this to my office," or something like that. Come on, he just uses charm, right? And then you should also watch out for a transactional leadership style. This one focuses on motivating subordinates through rewards and punishment. All right, so whenever you see when we're talking about, this person uses reward, this person, then that would be the last one that I just gave you. All right, so let's have a look at these leadership styles. So in this case, then it seems like I've given you the answer already. That would be a democratic leader. Okay. They're saying, if Elena said participative or consultative, please mark them correct. But from the ones I gave you, you see I didn't even talk about participative. I'm sure it's addressed in other textbooks, because in my textbook, I only have the ones that I told you about. All right, so that's democratic. And the reason is what I underlined there. That's the motivation. Okay, so Miss Green regularly requests. Now, mostly you can see that if they ask you to motivate your answer, in this case, it's literally just copying what you see there. But personally, I would start on regularly requests employees to contribute ideas. I think I would end there, and I'll get my 1 mark for motivation. All right. Then obviously the next 2 questions you can see they are on the next slide. I just put them here just to show that these questions are coming from the same extract. All right, so we have 8 marks, 6 marks. That's 9 plus 8, that is 17. So this extract was, giving you 17 marks. Let's look at the other marks. All right, so it's the same scenario. Discuss the impact. Now you see I highlighted the word impact for a reason, and I even underlined it, because whenever you see this word, I want you to take note. We are saying, how does whatever impact something? Now, things impact on one another either positively or negatively in most cases. So, it's more like saying, what's the effect of? I'm sure anything you could mention will have advantages and disadvantages. So how does this thing affect whatever? It can affect it positively. It can also affect it negatively. So let's have a look. Discuss the impact of Miss Green's leadership style identified. Okay, so it's as simple as, what are the advantages of a democratic leadership style? What are the disadvantages of a democratic leadership style? Now, like I said, this whole question was 17 marks. Now, see, if you got democratic wrong, you are going to be busy giving the wrong impact. So you must be very, very careful when it comes to this. Make sure you know these leadership styles that I just gave you. Make sure you can take the key words about each. For instance, when the boss or the manager, the leader, listens to what you say and considers what you say, that person is democratic. When they don't listen, when they just tell you what to do, they are autocratic. When they give you freedom, they are free reign. When they use charm, they are charismatic. When they use reward, they are transactional. Okay, so get that key. So whenever, please don't get these wrong, because you lose 17 marks just because you say it is charismatic when it's actually democratic. You are going to give us advantages of charismatic leadership style instead of you giving us advantages of democratic. So make sure you get this right. All right. And don't confuse leadership styles for leadership theories. Okay, we'll do that. I'm sure there are questions on that. All right, so let's see. What are the positive impacts? How does a democratic leadership style impact positively? Let's see on what? On Baloy, on the business. You see, on Baloy traders. What's the positive impact of a democratic leadership style on a business? That's simply, so you won't see Baloy traders in your textbook, but you'll see positive impact or advantages of a democratic leadership style on businesses. All right, let's have a look. Ms. Green allows her employees to participate in decision making, so they feel empowered. So that's a positive thing. If you feel empowered, you become motivated, you contribute more in the workplace. The next point we have is staff gives a variety of ideas. You see, this thing that we call indigenous knowledge. And that's where it also helps to be diverse in the workplace, because if there's diversity in the workplace, each individual has, indigenous knowledge. So when the leader wants to hear how we solve that problem where we come from, we probably will give the company a breakthrough idea simply because I'm from a different tribe. And so obviously I possess indigenous knowledge. And if I share that, it's going to help the company at the end of the day. However, I wouldn't share that if my boss is autocratic. If he's the one who knows everything and he just tells me what to do, then I'm going to keep my indigenous knowledge. I'm not going to share it. So one of the advantages is that it's going to lead to that. So there's going to be a variety of ideas, and that's a good thing. The next point is clear two-way communication, which ensures group commitment to final decisions, which is clear, it doesn't need explaining. Then authority is delegated. That means it's not just one person who's sort of in authority. If they give you the authority to come up with a solution to a problem, then at that point in time, you are in authority, which can motivate you or inspire you to actually come up with ideas. So you could stay up during the night trying to come up with a solution to a problem because it has been delegated to you, because the boss values your idea. So you obviously are going to do it diligently. Now, if you think about, in the workplace, people can, sabotage. Like they can intentionally make an idea fail simply because it's not coming from them. That's normal. People do that, right? So if the leader gives you the room to give an idea, and it's your idea, you try by all means to ensure that that idea doesn't fail, because that they'll sort of put it on you. Right, then the last one will be complex decisions can be made with input from specialists or skilled workers. So if you have these skilled workers and you don't make use of them, tough luck. That is if you are an autocratic leader. All right, let's move on to the disadvantages or the negative impacts. Incorrect decisions may be made, of course, if staff is inexperienced or not fully informed. Decision making may take time or may be time consuming, since we have to listen to what they say and so on. You see, the one which is very, very fast is the autocratic. The boss will tell you what to do, you do it. So there's no need for us to be discussing. So this one can be time consuming. I think you can see that nothing is good 100%. The good leadership style that we can all say, wow, this one is good, it obviously will have some gray areas. All right, employees may feel discouraged if their opinions or inputs are not considered. And if this happens, then yes, that's when they can try to work against the idea, do things that will ensure that the idea fails, because you didn't consider mine. And then Miss Green may rely too much on inputs of her followers and fail to make final decisions. All right, that is one of the downsides. Not effective in times of crisis, of course. When we have a crisis, we can't be waiting for people to give us ideas because there's a crisis. So in times of crisis, you want to be, what do you call it? You want to be an autocratic leader, and when it comes now to theories, you'd want to be a situational leadership. Use a situational leadership theory. Okay, we'll get to that when we get to that. All right, then the last one. Some employees only pretend to participate in decision making, and their feedback may not always be accurate. All right, so this brings us to the end of this particular question. Let's see the last portion of Miss Green. All right, give advice to Miss Green on the benefits of using, oh yes, I just spoke about this one, a situational leadership theory in the workplace. All right, what could be the advantages? You see, this thing, of course, now we are on it, so I might as well talk about it. So this theory, it states that there is no single best leadership style. So think about it. Like, you can't be autocratic always, you can't be democratic always, you can't be free reign always. So what do? It depends on who you're working with, it depends on the situation, it depends on the time. Like, are you facing a crisis? Of course, if you see that there's time, you can be democratic. If you see that it's a crisis, then you have to be autocratic. If you see that the person you're working with knows exactly what they're doing, then you are a democratic, you are a free reign leader. If you see that here I need to use a bit of charm, then you're going to use that. So that way you are a situational leadership, or you are using a situational leadership theory, because you don't believe that one style, you are that person who's saying, no, one size does not fit all. I think this one is a good theory, situational. It depends on what's going on. So different leadership characteristics are needed for different situations. And then the task or situation dictates the leadership style. Okay, that's exactly what I was saying just now. That should be applied. So leaders are adaptable, like they adapt to whatever is going on. They're flexible. Now, think about, do you think a bureaucratic leader would use this? Because this person is not flexible as a bureaucrat. They are not flexible. They say this is how it should be done, and which is wrong. Right. Effective application of this theory may enable Miss Green to accomplish her goals. And then relationships between leaders and employees are based on mutual trust, respect, loyalty, integrity, and honesty. Right. She may have the ability to read the situation, get the most suitable people in the right position to complete tasks successfully. And then the last one, leaders analyze group members or objectives, time constraints to adopt a suitable, relevant leadership style. Okay, so this is the advice that you'd want to give Ms. Green. That Ms. Green, you don't always have to be a democratic leader. In some cases, there is crisis, be autocratic. In some cases, you're dealing with someone who is experienced, give them that freedom. And sometimes you need to use some charm. Sometimes you need to reward. Sometimes you need to punish. Okay, so that's situational. And, sometimes you need to use the rules. But please, let it be the tools of last resort, because I hate bureaucratic leadership style. All right, let's move on to another part, another question. So this is probably, because the first one, I think it's 2017 Feb March. So I took them like that. I started from 2017 Feb March. I went to June. I went to November. So yes, whatever it is that came from 2017 Feb March up until 2019 November is what we are using right now. I do not have anything for 2020 as in Feb March 2020. I don't have June. But when I do these videos next year or 2 years from now, I'm going to use obviously 2020 20 because I don't have anything for now because there's nothing on the website. All right, so identify the leadership style that are applicable to the following situations. All right, Georgina. Oh, this reminds me of a former student of mine, and I'm not going to say how I used to pronounce that just to tease her. All right, Georgina uses her personality to inspire employees, you see, to inspire employees to do more than what is normally expected. So you see, this person is trying to use charm, you know, because this person is trying to inspire the employee to do more than what is actually expected. So when the employee does this, they may not like realize that they're doing more than what they actually expected to do, because the leader is sort of charming them, you know, because you know charm sort of deceives, ne? So you are not going to do just what you're expected to do, but you could do more. So it's a very good leadership style. If you are charismatic, wow, please continue to be charismatic, because you see, obviously, if we go to the advantages, you can clearly see that this leadership style is good, because wow, who doesn't want charm, right? Then the CEO of Trevor Shuttle Services requested experienced employees to share their ideas. You see, to share their ideas, that means, oh, so we listen to what they say. So these employees, that whatever it is that they're saying, we consider it. So it's a good thing, right? I'm sure you can see which one this is. Ideas when important decisions need to be made. You see, to even top it up, it says important decisions. Yes, this is nothing but a democratic leadership style. Right, the employees of Sizwe Marketing Limited. Okay, so obviously this is a public company, right? How do we know? Because it says limited. So what is a public company? It is listed on the JSE. Right, so the employees of Sizwe Marketing Limited may choose their own work methods as long as they do not violate the company's policies. Wow, these guys, they choose what to do. They do it whenever they want. Wow, so this looks like they have freedom. So this will be the free reign leadership style. Right, we move on to the next one. Look, I highlighted because I want to put some emphasis on impact. So the minute we say impact, we want to hear positive, we want to hear negative. But obviously it's saying autocratic leadership style. So it means I've been talking about this a lot already in this video. Right, so let's see what's positive, what's good. Now some may think, you know, it's all gray when it comes to autocratic. Come on, there are times when the boss has to say and everyone just does what the boss says, because you know sometimes you give people freedom, they exceed the freedom, they start taking advantage. So there are times when autocratic leadership style is good. It obviously is good, let's say in times of crisis. When there's a crisis, you can't be free reign, you can't be democratic, because there's no time to hear what people think. As a boss, just come up with a decision, tell them to do that. So it's not always gray. There are good green areas with when it comes to this leadership style. All right. Number one, quick decisions can be taken, just like I said, without consulting. Remember, the democratic leadership style, we said, is time wasting. That's one of the disadvantages. But when you see why the situational leadership theory is good, because you take the good of autocratic, you mix with the good of democratic, you mix with the good of free reign, you know. So what you're going to come up with is, let me say, the best. Work gets done in time, on schedule, because there's no time for us to wait and say, oh, we're still waiting for the decision. The boss has made the decision, and that decision is final. Line of command. Communication is clear. We know who's going to say what, and we know everyone is going to follow that. As it is top to bottom, I mentioned this before, followers know exactly what to do. Direct supervision and strict control ensures high quality products or services. Provides strong leadership, which makes new employees feel confident and safe. Works well in large companies where consultation with every employee is not practical at all. Clear guidance can be given to low-skilled or inexperienced or new workers. And then the last one, useful in times of crisis. I think I've mentioned that. When there's an urgent situation that needs to be resolved, e.g., after an accident, meeting tight deadlines. Look, when there's an accident in the workplace, you can't be democratic. Guys, let's have a meeting. What do you think we should do? No, it's a crisis. If you have to call the ambulance, then the boss will say, everyone, leave what you're doing, go to do this, do that. Yeah, you need to be autocratic during those times. Let's look at the disadvantages. Leaders and followers may become divided, yes, obviously, and may not agree on ways to solve problems. And obviously, if I'm experienced, if I know what I'm doing, and then you try to be autocratic on me, I'm going to be remorse. I'm going to resist. I'm going to ensure that the idea fails because you are telling me what to do all the time as if I don't know what to do. Especially if you are a boss who found us in the job already and then you want to tell us how to do our jobs. Obviously, we are going to resist. So it's not always a good leadership style. Of course, it has good things like you just saw, right? Right, workers can become demotivated if their opinions or ideas are not considered. Demotivated workers impact negatively on productivity. Just like I said, we're not going to do what we're supposed to do. We just come to work, sit, do nothing. Is it you're telling us how to do things, so we're not going to do anything. New, creative, cost reducing ideas may not be used or implemented or never be considered. Okay, there are so many ors because this is the memo, so it gives provision for whatever it is that the learner could have said. Right, followers may feel that they are not valued, and so resulting in high absenteeism, high employee turnover. High employee turnover means employees they leave that company more frequently than, okay, let's say it's a high school and in January you had a teacher, and then in March you have a new teacher, in July you have a new teacher for accounting, let's say, and then by the end of the year you don't have a teacher because your teacher left, the one who came in July, and the school is looking for another teacher, or the school is waiting for January to hire a new one for the year. Now that's high employee turnover. Obviously, do you think there is productivity at that school? The answer is no. So it's good to retain your employees as a company because high employee turnover is a sign of poor management, and that could be because of the leadership style that is used by by the leaders at that company. All right, I have so many examples from where I came from, where I was teaching, and yeah, high employee turnover becomes a problem. The next one, or the last one, experienced or highly skilled workers will resist. I mentioned this one as an autocratic leadership style. Obviously, we will resist because it results in slow growth, low participation, and less creativity. Why am I going to be innovative if I know you're not going to take my ideas anyway? So it actually cripples creative people. They will keep their creativity within themselves, because no one is going to listen because the leader is autocratic. So this is one of the worst. If it's not the worst, because I think the worst is bureaucratic. Right, identify the leadership style applied by Cobus Limited, that's a public again, in each case study. Employees are allowed to make their own decisions as long as they do not violate the company's policy. You see, it's a different year, same wording, and the answer obviously is the same. That would be free reign. Employees are requested to give input. You see, that is democratic. Employees are rewarded for reward. Come on, I say this one, that's transactional. All right, and they are not just rewarded, they can also be punished when they do something wrong. Oh yes, this sentence says that. And punished for not meeting deadlines. So if a leader uses this, we say it's a transactional leadership style. All right, explain the role of personal attitude in successful leadership. All right, let's have a look. Positive attitude releases or leadership potential. A leader's good or bad attitude can influence the success or failure of the business. Leaders must know their strengths and weaknesses to apply their leadership style effectively. Great leaders understand that the right attitude will set the right atmosphere. Leaders' attitude may influence employees, team thoughts, or behavior. Leaders should model the behavior that they want to see in team members. All right, I'm not going to say everything word for word, but you can pause if you want and then try to find those that you think you can remember. Like in this case, you need only 3 points in an exam because the question was for 6 marks. But in some cases, this question could come as a 10-mark question, so you might need 5 points. So find the ones that you think you can remember and reproduce in the exam. Right, we go to the next one. Explain the difference between a democratic leadership style and an autocratic leadership style. Okay, the key word here is different, and in most cases when you are asked to distinguish, it's best to draw a table. So in this case, I would advise that you draw a table. Then you have democratic on one side, you have autocratic on the other. Then you exhaust all points. And whenever you mention a point on democratic, try to maybe look for the opposite in autocratic. All right, so something like this. Let's have a look. The leader involves employees. So obviously the opposite of this is the leader does not. Okay, in the decision-making process. All right, on the other hand, an autocratic leader, a leader takes all decisions alone without involving employees. Next one, clear or two-way communication. Obviously, the other one will be one-way communication, which ensures group commitment to final decision or decisions. Line of command on autocratic, communication is clear. We know exactly where this is coming from. It's coming from the top, then it goes right to the bottom. So followers know exactly what to do. Right? The other one is people-oriented, which is the democratic leadership style. People-oriented as employees' feelings and opinions are considered. Then the other one is task-oriented. So in a way, when we look at the difference here, an autocratic person is what many people would say is a leader. And an autocratic person, did I say auto? Okay. A democratic person or leader is what people mostly refer to as a leader. And an autocratic person is what people mostly refer to as a manager. Because look, this one is task-oriented. So it's not even people-oriented. The person doesn't care in a way, maybe. Depends. Okay, as opinions of employees are not considered, then workers feel empowered if it's democratic, as they are involved in decision making. On the other hand, with autocratic, new employees feel confident or safe as strong leadership is provided. Then useful for democratic, useful when the leader depends on the inputs of experienced followers and so on. So you can continue with what I didn't mention here, but I think it's straightforward. Then the next one is discuss situational leadership. Okay, this one is a theory as a management and leadership theory. Yes, it is a theory. Okay, so discuss, what is it? Okay, different leadership characteristics are needed for different situations. The task or situation dictates the leadership style that should be applied. So leaders are adaptable, flexible, and self-assured. Relationships become leaders and employees. Between leaders and employees are based on mutual trust, respect, loyalty, integrity, and honesty. Okay, we had a question more or less the same as this one, and so I'm just gonna do this because we've done this already. All right, then discuss transformational leadership theory. Okay, so already from what you've seen right now, because there are questions where you are asked to list leadership theories. So from what you've seen so far, you now know the difference. Like, there is what we call leadership styles, and there's also what we call leadership theories. And amongst the leadership theories, already you see situational, and now you are being introduced to transformational. So already we have talked about two. So if ever you just end here in an exam, if that question comes, list any two leadership theories, you are not going to say democratic, because no, that's a leadership style. You're going to say number one, situational, number two, transformational, because these are theories. All right, so let's see this one. What is it about? This one is suitable for dynamic environments where change can be drastic. So when change can be drastic, you need to use a transformational leadership style. Then the passion, vision, and personality of leaders inspire followers to change their expectations, perceptions, motivation to work towards a common goal. All right, so this is also what a transformational leadership style would do. And besides this, maybe if I can add to what it is exactly. All right, this leadership theory, it guides followers through change. Okay, this one obviously has been mentioned, but then the other thing is it aims to reduce or remove doubt and resistance. If there is any form of doubt or any form of resistance in the company, then you want to use this leadership theory. So this theory assumes that people will follow a person who inspires them, and that the way to get things done in the company is by injecting energy and enthusiasm. So that's the sort of difference between transformational leadership style and situational, because in this case now the person is trying to inject energy and enthusiasm, and it doesn't really say like how the person does this. All right, let's see some more. Strategic thinking leaders develop a long-term vision for the organization and sell it to subordinates or employees. Then leaders have the trust, the respect, the admiration of their followers or subordinates. And then it promotes intellectual stimulation, creative thinking, problem solving, which results in growth, development, success of the business. Right, then moving on with the same thing, followers are coached, they are led, they are mentored, and then emotionally supported through transformational change, so so that they can share their ideas freely. All right, so you can take a few and see what you can really master. Oh, there's one that could be interesting there. Leaders have strong, charismatic personalities and are very good at motivating staff and achieve results. So with this theory, when it comes to which style then are you going to be, you could be a charismatic leader. All right, Tammy allocates tasks to employees according to their level of maturity. So name the leadership theory that Tammy applies. All right, so among the leadership theories, so far we've mentioned a situational. We have one that is called leaders and followers, and then we also mentioned transformational, and then there is what we call also transitional. So I know only these four. I'm not sure if there is any other leadership theory that could be used. All right, so amongst these four, which one do you think Tammy is applying here? If Tammy, if she allocates tasks to employees according to their level of maturity. Okay, according to that, Tammy will be a situational leadership theory. Why do we say this? The reason is because if you are not mature enough, but maybe mature, okay, but if you are not experienced enough, let me use that word, then Tammy is going to be autocratic to you. If you're experienced, she's going to be, democratic. If you do, so it depends. So if you look at this, it depends on who you are. So anything that depends, the theory that in question here will be a situational. All right, discuss the leadership theory identified in that question. Like, what is it? And we've done this before, so I'm just going to do this because we've done the situational probably 2 times already, so this is the 3rd time, so I don't need to repeat the same thing. It's in the same video. Maybe if I was doing it in a different video, I would. All right, giant computer software. Okay, what about them? Right, giant computer software specializes in developing new computer software for various computer programs. Okay, already we don't know where we're going with this. All right, so Cindy, the production manager, offers rewards. Okay, we see this word, offers reward. So already we have something, a key to where we're probably going, to motivate employees who meet set targets. So we already know which leadership style this is. Then on the other hand, we have Tom, who is a marketing manager. Now, Tom doesn't use reward and punishment, because that one who uses reward also obviously punishes as well, because that leadership style does that. All right, Tom, on the other hand, he uses charm, so we can see what Tom is, because we've been repeating this. Charm is for which leadership style. So identify the leadership style used by Cindy and Tom. Motivate your answer by quoting okay, look, we have 2 people here, and then the motivation. So my suggestion is that you draw a table, and then you have a column not a column, you have a row for Cindy and a row for Tom. And on the top, you can then say leadership style as your heading, and the other side you say motivation. Okay, something like this. All right, so Cindy is transactional. Why is Cindy transactional? Because we've said it over and over again, because that a leader that uses reward and punishment is a transactional leader. And the reason is you just copy what you see in the extract. Look here, Cindy offers reward to motivate. Then how about Tom? We say Tom uses charm. So charm is our keyword here. So if Tom uses charm, then Tom is charismatic. All right, where's the answer? There, that's the motivation. So these 6 marks, please put them in the bag. There's no way you can lose these 6 marks. You'll be letting us down. Please don't do that. Right, the next one, discuss the impact. All right, here's the danger. You got the leadership style for Tom wrong. You said Tom is democratic, and you crammed the advantages of a democratic leader. You crammed them. You are going to be busy saying the wrong thing there, because Tom is not democratic. Tom is actually charismatic. So please, just get the key of each leadership style. Also get the key of each leadership theory, just in case they ask you about a theory, and then they ask you more things for 8 marks about that particular theory. So if you got it wrong, then you have a big problem. That's when you leave the exam room thinking you murdered it. Yet no. It's the other way around. It murdered you. Can you see that you did? Right, discuss the impact of Tom's leadership style and identify as identified on businesses. So what is the positive impact of a charismatic leader? Okay, experts at selling business vision and achieve excellent results because you use charm. Employees are motivated. Who doesn't want to be charmed? as the leader is energetic and inspiring loyalty, hard work among employees. All right, then let's look at the negatives. The leader believes more in himself, herself, than the team. That's the disadvantage. Projects can collapse if the leader leaves the team, because no one is there to motivate them. Leaders are intolerant of challenges or changes, and regard themselves as irreplaceable. And then the last one, leaders' emotions may often be more important than the purpose of the team. So that becomes a disadvantage. Right? Like I said, you could be asked to name any of the leadership theories. All right, we've been talking about these. We have yes, I spoke about leaders and followers earlier, and then we have situational. This one has appeared 3 times. We have transformational. I was talking about it, and then the last one is transitional. Right, then we have another scenario. It says here, Sihle, the owner of Mountain Hotel, applies the democratic leadership style. Okay, here they tell us which style. Remember, democratic is which one? It's when we also the boss talks and they also listen to what you have to say. So they are sensitive. Okay, in managing his employees. And then it says he has a positive attitude and knows that there is always more to learn. Sihle models the behavior that he wants to see in his followers. All right, caught 2 roles of personal attitude in successful leadership displayed by Sihle in the scenario. Okay, that one is clear. Number 1, he has a positive attitude and knows that there is always more to learn. Number 2, Sihle models the behavior that he wants to see in his followers. All right, give advice to Sihle on the impact. Okay, this word again. So we want to hear positive and negative of democratic leadership style. And since we've talked about this one already in the past, I'm just going to pass, because we talked about advantages and disadvantages of a democratic leader already. All right, so you can take down some notes if you haven't taken when we did it earlier. All right, so this brings us to the end of the lesson. And as always, thank you so much for watching. And I'm going to upload the other 4. So this is the first one that I did for business ventures, and this is in preparation for paper 2. All right, thank you so much. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, because when I look at my channel analytics, I see that yes, obviously so many people are watching, but 90% of my audience are watching, only 10% are subscribed. So please, can you please press the subscribe button, because you don't want to be one of the 90%. You want to be one of the few that subscribe. And because by so doing, you help me to create more content and help someone else